touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, good evening, Sigma race fans. Coming at you live again here tonight from Armory Digital Superspeedway. And it's going to be a 250-mile race, so buckle in for a longer one here tonight, folks, as our Bridge to Cup Series tackles the Superspeedway tonight. On the front row, you've got Krista Cower alongside newcomer Alex Crowther. Then behind them, got behind them, you've got the 19 of Alan Malcolm, the 50 of Tim Cording, Alex Sanvital in the number 40 Dodge Challenger alongside Ryan Little in the 21 Hot Tamales Toyota Supra. And just right behind them, you've got Cooper Dwight and Willow Blake, Carson Bauers and Cannon Gage, Adam Starr and Jason So, Spinham Walker and Jonah Burridge, Anheuser Wagner and Andrew Moger. Cat Durham takes over the 35 with Dave Steele Jr. taking a step up the ladder into Cup alongside Zach Magoon. You got Roach and Gannon Bird, Matthew Hubert and James Gunner, Skylar Taylor with Luis Rodriguez, Jimmie Logano and Noah Hobson, Trevor Vaden and Jamie Horseman, Wyatt Wilkinson and Jack Davis, Alan Chavot and Kyler Sustre, with Rich Roy and Eli the Wolf rounding out the field in the back there. So 96 laps here tonight. 250 miles.
Drivers, start those engines!
These cars are definitely going to go a little bit quicker here than the trucks did last night. So expect lap times to be up. Race pace will be a little bit quicker.
Make sure everything gets tight there, Jeff. Guys, it's going to be coming to you here in a sec. Big day, big day. Let's make the most of it. Good luck.
Our Bridge to Cup Series, very exciting because there's so many opportunities for these drivers to get a move up the ladder. One interesting side note though, a driver that's taken a step down, Tim Cording, after running a full season in Cup last year, makes the move down here to Bridge to Cup. He's not yet won in a Bridge to Cup championship, so maybe trying to knock off another championship in his resume. He's a truck champion in his own. And we're off and rolling here as they get going. Side by side through the first turn coming through turn 2 now. It's going to be Krista Cower with an early lead here. Alex Sanvital in the number 40, you see taking a deep dive down low. And they're already trying to make it 4 wide for second place as you got Cooper Dwight, the driver that last won in Bridge to Cup competition. Could potentially make it 3 for 3 here tonight if he gets the win. Don't want to jinx him, of course. Does have a teammate on his side for the first time in 2025 here with Carson Bauers in the number 12. You see Carson Bauers just right there behind him. 3 wide, and Cooper Dwight led that lap. Pretty sure he did. Yes, he did. Alex Crowther second, Krista Cower third, and here comes Carson Bauers with a little bit of drafting help from Anheuser-Wagner. Adam Starr. We haven't seen a lot of wrecking in the Speedster weeks, Speedster days, Sigma Speedster days, all the racing and practice and qualifying leading up to all of our season openers. Trucks went pretty much wreck-free last night. We did get a competition caution. And of course, with those Sigma comp cautions, we would likely see one here tonight if they go long enough for green flag pit stop, forcing us to re-rack them and give everyone an opportunity to get stacked back up. As I've said many times this week, it's kind of a hard gauge off of a super speedway race, figuring out who has got what it's got, you know, who's got it this year, who's going to be the top contenders in 2025. Are, you know, honestly, you're not going to find much from a super speedway. It's pretty much a wild card here, as always. But one thing is for certain, you're either going to start on top or start yourself in a hole. Those are the two things that you can pretty much rely on at the start of the season here. You want to start out strong so you don't have to dig yourself out. So at the moment, it's Anheuser-Wagner in the 65 for Jaw Drop Motorsports. Behind that, you've got the 17 LFG Motorsports Honda Civic of Jack Davis. And then it's 3 wide with Al Bunch Incorporated, Ant Meperson's team there, LM Novellis in the 13, and Trackhouse B in the 35, Busch Light entry. Roach, that's representing Railfan Motorsports in the Mopar Dodge Challenger. Bradley Ream, your defending Bridge to Cup champion. He has a 2-car team set up here in 2025, featuring the 6 of Roach and the 40 of Alex Sanvital. 2 very, very stout contenders for race wins. That 13 there, a long-standing veteran in our Bridge to Cup series. He was here when it was the original Sylvania Busch Light series. Noah Hobson, throwing it back to his 2022 paint scheme, actually. First year in the series, he would run the number 8 Tijuana Flats entry and didn't see much success in his first career season, but hoping to maybe find a new spark, bringing back the old paint scheme here in 2025. Matthew Hubert has been kind of in a carousel of rides over the last couple years. this could very well be one of the best pieces of equipment that's under him. Al Bunch Incorporated. Obviously, Al Bunch, a champion of the Bridge to Cup Series, and later on went to win the Cup Series the following year. So you know that he can get the cars dialed in for his team. It just comes down to the driver after that. And I heard that Trevor Walker had said that him and Jordan Walker tried to put as much research and development into this Jaw Drop Motorsports camp. The 65 and the 21, both of them ran it all the way to the championship finale last year. And if you're new to Bridge to Cup, we actually host it kind of like a Sweet 16 bracket for our Bridge to Cup championship. And the 65 and the 21 were going head-to-head with some of the best drivers from last year, and were able to make it into the final 8. Obviously, that final race at Phoenix did not go to their liking. And ultimately, they had pretty much built, you know, contending rides from there that they know that they can build off of for 2025. So Anheuser definitely leading a bunch of laps here at the front. Might be some new contenders here shortly, as you see the 74 of Andrew Moger come to the front for the first time here tonight. Moger is in a Volkswagen there. You don't see very many Volkswagens in the racing field throughout Sigma, but he is the flag bearer for that manufacturer through all of our series. And here comes Walkner's teammate, the 21 of Ryan Little, trying to duke it out with his teammate to take the lead here. And you've got Alan Malcolm in the number 19 Food Lion F-Raptor 22 entry. The Lockheed Martin Food Lion Toyota Supra running up to second now with a good draft partner in the 18 of Trevor Vaden. Those two are actually teammates last season. Still are teammates, actually. I take that. They're teammates on Trevor Ventures. So TV, even though not the team cars at the front of the field here, running 1, 2, 3 with their talent. Alan Malcolm in the trucks races for Trevor Venture as well as Trevor Vaden. Now you got Jack Davis making a move against their teammate. You got pair teammates duking it out. So much team tactics at the front of the field going on right now. The bracket is going to be pretty much the same as it was last year. We've adjusted the schedule accordingly so that there's no significant flaws. Basically, we had a little bit of flaw, that came up with the format. And so now, with the amount of races that we have, it should work out to where you're either going to have a winning record or you're going to have a losing record for the most part when you're going head-to-head. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a lot prettier on paper once we get to that time of the year, and it just, you put this person up against this person. The structure of it's going to change slightly, trying to, you know, eliminate any factors of error that we happened to find last season. So if that explains it any better, it's clear as mud the way I'm explaining it, but it's kind of where it sets right now. 4 wide as Cooper Dwight dives down low there. Alan Chavot, you see in the number 97, has worked his way up through the field here, featuring Tucson Speedway on his paint scheme. This is getting a little bit out of control at the front of the field. Almost going to go 5 wide. We've seen 4 wide work. I don't know if you're going to see 5 wide work. Jack Davis kind of had to let up there as him and the 81 were hooked together. They're stacked in there like wood. It's insane how tight the battles are here at Armory Digital Superspeedway. Yeah, with the British Cup Series, obviously it's the ladder up, you know, up the step, another step closer to Cup. A lot of guys were able to progress into Cup for 2025. And so a lot of new faces and new places, a lot of new seats opened up. Just our Bridge to Cup Series definitely is one of those series where the rides change almost on a yearly basis. And even some, you know, long timers in the Bridge to Cup Series, they've jumped to a different car. It just, you know, sometimes it doesn't work with the team they're racing for. And the grand goal behind it is getting up to Cup. So, well, you know, they'll be like tough luck to the team owner that gave him that chance last year. I'm going to go pursue a different opportunity and see if it works better for me. Eli the Wolf in his first ever full season of competition in the Bridge to Cup Series, racing a very highly touted number 8 that we all know to be Al Bunch's ride when he was racing in this series. Al was very specific that he wanted it to look different. He didn't want it to look yellow. He wanted it to be at least noticeably different so that people didn't think it was him out there on the racetrack. And so they went with the white nose and the yellow back. And it was different enough for him to say, yep, that's the scheme we want. We're going to go with for Eli the Wolf. It is kind of hard once a driver has made a ride so iconic to put someone else in that seat. I mean, you've seen it time and time before. It's still kind of weird with William Byron trying to fill the shoes of Jeff Gordon, and even the likes of Alex Bowman trying to fill the shoes of Jimmie Johnson. You just there's some of those number, you know, combinations. It's just hard to move on from the driver that made it famous. So Eli the Wolf not having a bad showing so far here. Getting stuck up high though is not going to do him any favors. And here we got Jimmie Logano starting to move to the front now. As you see, he's up into the top 10. Adam Starr leads the way, but Jimmie Logano kind of in the catbird seat there. He's going to be able to pick him off one by one. Even though he's 4 wide right now, he's in the safest spot he can be in a 4 wide scenario. Up to 3rd and right behind the 38 of Jamie Horseman. Alan Malcolm leads the way now. Currently 18 laps, 19 laps now. The laps are going by quickly here tonight. On average, turning about 188 miles an hour around this Superspeedway. Definitely more of the same of what we saw here last night with our truck series. Just a lot of side-by-side super drafting at a super speedway. And our ARCA series tomorrow night, it's going to be a little bit different for those ARCA drivers. They don't often race on super speedways like this, so it's kind of like putting a rookie in charge of the hardest, the hardest chore imaginable and expecting them to pick it up quickly. Trevor Vaden now slowly working his way up to the front. A little bit of good drafting help from Luis Rodriguez. Tim Cording now taking a dive into the front. It's actually a KBM 1, 2, and 4, maybe 3 if Luis Rodriguez can get by, but it's not looking like that's going to happen with Trevor Vaden now taking the lead away from his KBM teammate, Tim Cording. Yeah, KBM there, 3 of those cars running a Cadillac here in Bridge to Cup action. We saw Cadillac last season and was kind of their maiden voyage into the series. You had 2 of them make it to the final 8 in the championship, so Cadillac's been tried and true, fighting for, championships here as well, just within 1 year of joining the series. And with that topic on hand, our manufacturers, this is definitely the training grounds for the manufacturers in the Sigma Racing universe, as we will usually test trial new manufacturers in our Bridge to Cup series before seeing them grow up into a Cup team or even expand through the other lower series with trucks and even the ARCA series with its expansion this year from being a spec body to now multiple body manufacturers in ARCA. But we've definitely seen a lot of the new manufacturers popping up here in Bridge to Cup. A little bit more relaxed rule package, allowing these teams to expand and experiment with new manufacturers. Hyundai in our series here, they ended up winning at least a race last season, and with that they were able to use it to catapult themselves into Cup with Genesis. So if you see it here first, there's always a good chance that you might see it at the Cup level eventually. Cannon Gage leading the way right now. He has made his rounds on the NR circuit and has won quite a few races on an Instagram league of NR racing, yet winless in Sigma competition. I can only imagine that one lingers in the back of his brain as the one that continually keeps getting away from him. If he can find his way to victory lane here in Sigma competition, watch out, because he could be a threat to win many more. It's actually quite insane that we've made it 25 laps, no wrecks, no cautions. Everyone on their best behavior here tonight, racing hard and giving it their all. Jason So takes the lead here briefly, and it's going to be 3 wide for the lead as Alan Malcolm attempts to try and take the spot that he lost earlier in the race here back into his possession. Willow Blake, we saw her run the truck race last night and get a top 10. One of the few drivers that's going to be doing triple duty between trucks, Bridge to Cup, and the Cup race on Thursday. She had made her career start last year in ARCA and became the one and only driver to start a race in ARCA, Bridge to Cup, trucks, and Cup last year. So definitely one of our rising stars in the Sigma racing universe. She's now up to second here in the 02 car and may very well find her way up to lead her first laps of the race here tonight. She's not going to lead this time by, but still sitting pretty to try and take it next go around. Eli the Wolf back on the prowl. Alan Chavot right behind him. If I'm reading that ticker right, and it hasn't reset in about 2 laps, Willow Blake was as far back as 21st just a couple laps ago. And she is now leading this race. That is just insane. That's a long charge. I mean, that's further than halfway back in the field to come from 21st in 2 laps to leading. Impressive out of that 02 camp. We are really blowing through laps here tonight. We might be on pace to get this race done. Kind of in a record-setting pace for these Bridge to Cup racers. Willow looks like she might be able to lead a second lap here. And she's going to hold off Carson Bauers just briefly there. And then she's going to start losing some spots as the leaders start to overhaul her here. Krista Cower was an interesting story towards the end of the season last year. That 98, she was consistently checkers or wreckers in the chase. Rather, the championship bracket at the end of the year. She'd win, and then the next head-to-head matchup she would lose. And then the next one she would win, so she would beat her head-to-head matchup, but ended up with almost a losing record. She barely made it in to the final 8 last year because she would win, lose, and it was in the most, extreme, from one extreme to the other, winning the race, which you think would actually be a better bid, but because of the format, she was never safe. So she's hoping that maybe this year she can just do it a little differently as she takes the lead right there in that 98 Subaru. And not even have to worry about, the head-to-head matchups being a concern once we get to that point in the season. Down to 66 laps to go. 65. And this goes to show you why these are 34 of the best Sigma drivers not yet to make it into Cup. The field is separated by, you could throw a blanket over the entire field right now. Even the person in last place can get back in the draft here and fight for the win. It's insane how well these drivers perform each week here in Bridge to Cup. There is not a bad driver in the field, as every single one of them, now 5 wide right in the middle there. This is the first time we've seen this tonight, and it could spell trouble. They're staying clean so far. Alan Chavot in the midst of all this. They are still 5 wide, and they are wrecking. Our first live race caution all week here in Sigma Racing. That's why you race. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You never know when the green flag drops who may or may not get tangled up in disaster. So one shot here from live. Full speed. No, and the game's going to crash. Gosh. Oh, boy. Well, we didn't even get to halfway, and of course, the game decides to crash. This is the second strike against my new computer, as we had one crash earlier in the week, and it happened when the game actually had a real race crash. So if the race goes green the entire way, we don't have a game crash, but if the game actually has an in-race crash, the game crashes. So hold tight, folks, as I'll reset the stream and we'll just give it another go. I mean, I'm going to change my computer now. This is proven to be not ideal with my new computer because I want to have a race where it's authentic. It's going to have wrecks. It's going to have crashes. And this is testing us for the full-length race coming up in couple days with the Cup Series, which will be even longer than this one. So I'll ping the Discord server when I go back up. Hopefully y'all don't mind a little bit later of a night here, but I'm gonna get things reset. So alrighty, folks, I'm gonna try this again. The qualifying order is obviously going to be different.
Touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
But the one thing for certain, I know that we should be able to get the race in on my laptop because the game never crashed as much on Windows 10 than it does on Windows 11, like I've heard many times before. Windows 11 and NR2003 are very volatile and do not get along with each other at all. So, of course, we're going to be hitting a frame rate drop because it's not.
Okay, you got your radio on over there?
It's just not.
Yes, 10-4. Can you hear me? Oh yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
We're gonna get this race in one way or another here tonight, folks. And apologies for the technical difficulties. Obviously, you can't always forecast or predict any of the failures to go the way they do, but we're gonna get another go. We're gonna go again, and we're gonna get the race in. So. And the green flag waves. We're off and roaring again here at Armory Digital Superspeedway. Alan Malcolm back to the lead again. We saw this earlier. No difference there. Adam Starr going low. Andrew Moger actually had a better qualifying spot this time around. Yeah, I kind of wish we would have seen that wreck again, because that was a pretty gnarly wreck that the game crashed on. And the fact that I was able to bounce back and go from my PC to my laptop in about 10 minutes, roughly 10 minutes flat, is pretty impressive too, actually. I'm able to watch the stream on my PC while the race is running on my laptop right now. Luckily, my laptop is plugged in, so it's not going to die on me. It is a bit of a tripping hazard at the moment as it's plugged in and stretched across the room, but we are so good so far. Back to 4 wide. So now we know for a fact that if it gets 5 wide around this track, it's a matter of time before it turns into a wreck. 4 wide, 3 wide, 2 wide, doesn't matter. Once you get to 5 wide, that's when the danger zone hits. Looking a lot the same here as the field very much all within a stone's throw of each other from first to last. Willow Blake leads the lap that time by, but Ryan Little going for the lead now, taking that spot away. We're seeing Spinham Walker for the first time here tonight. That 7 Valvoline, supposed to be reminiscent of Alan Kulwicki in the number 7, a Xerox sponsored number 7. Not truly a throwback, but you can definitely see some of the homage there being paid to the late great Alan Kulwicki, specifically with the number font on that one. Jonah Burridge in the 07 is kind of a wild card entry. He wasn't slated to start the season, but a mysterious investor put up some money to get a couple extra seats filled. Actually, another team pretty much put out there. And the 2 cars in that team is Jonah Burridge and Alan Chavot as your wild card entries here in 2025. And just like that, Alan Chavot starting to move through the field up into the top 10, almost into the top 5 now, as he's on the low side in that number 97 Ford Mustang. Carson Bauers following behind as well. So you've got a lot of folks making moves, making passes. Well, now I know that for the cup race, we're definitely going to have to use my laptop, at least until I can figure out a method to keep the game from crashing on my new PC. ARCA, I'm willing to experiment tomorrow night and test it again. Obviously, I would love my brand new computer that I dropped a lot of money on to be my hub for all of my streaming. But with a 20-year-old game, 23-year-old game now as it is, sometimes you just got to make some adjustments accordingly. And that one might be an interesting one to look up. I don't know why the game would crash only when the cars crash on track. It's like the pace car comes out and the game decides to blue screen of death or something. It's definitely a head scratcher. Here we go, here we go. Carson Bauers and Anheuser-Walkner side by side. Jack Davis right behind them. From first to last place, you're separated by less than a second. Well, 1.2 seconds from first to last. That is the tightest field you could possibly have of 34 cars all within the same draft. And I think another factor working against us is Armory Digital Superspeedway. Knowing with all the backdrop, all the designs and stuff, this track is definitely pushing the capacity of what NR2003 was capable of doing. So I'm almost, I'm confident that the rest of the streams could go decently on the new computer, given that not every track is an Armory Digital Superspeedway with all the bells and whistles and whatnot. Rich Roy to the lead there. Jimmie Logano now creeping into the picture. Whoa, and the 65 has a full head of steam on the outside. I don't know where Anheuser got that push, but it looked like he was going to freight train around the top side there. Looks like maybe we've got a mechanical failure from someone, as there's a big gap that started to establish there from the front to the back. Doesn't look like a standalone mechanical failure. No mechanical failures noted. So someone just made a bit of a mistake and got shuffled backwards there. And in the meantime, it's Jimmie Logano to the lead. Another new face at the front is we've got Gannon Bird in the number 46, reminiscent of Kevin Harvick with that paint scheme. Him and there should be, oh yeah, that's right, Cannon Gage is his teammate. So the 46 and the 5, those were two of your contenders that went pretty deep in the championship chase last year. And potentially getting themselves set up for another good run this year, as we've seen both of them run towards the front here tonight already. This is the first time all of tonight through the racing that we've had that we've actually seen a breakaway from one group to another. This lead group slightly stretching it out on that second group. The more they continue to swap lead though, that's only going to allow that second group to get caught back up shortly. Just seems like there's not a lot of organization at the front of the field as they continue to swap that lead back and forth with each other. Leading that second group is none other than Tim Cording in the 50. And kind of out by himself there at the moment. The draft behind him is going to catch up, and he'll have a little bit of drafting help to catch back up. There is one driver that's lost the draft altogether, and that is the 13 of Noah Hobson. Doesn't seem like he's got any damage on the car, so simply just found himself in a bad spot and got shuffled backwards. Things are looking a little bit volatile there with Jimmie Logano in the midst of four wide action there. Willow Blake right alongside of him. Those two are hooked together side by side through the turns. And Jimmie gets a little bit of breathing space there as he takes the high groove. But unfortunately, that high groove is not the progressive spot to be. You're not going to move forward running that high groove. Alex Crowther takes the lead. Rich Roy in second, and that second group has caught right back up. As you can see, Tim Cording starting to work his way back up into the top 20 in that gold number 50. Gold and white number 50. Oh, 5 wide right there underneath is Tim Cording. They settled out to 4 wide, but it could have got bad. Ooh, oh, Jimmie Logano, ooh, he's up in the high groove, and Skylar Taylor and Eli the Wolf almost got into each other there. Somehow, miraculously, Willow Blake takes a dive down low and gets onto the preferred line as she starts to move forward here. Krista Cower cuts even lower than she did. And now you've got Krista Cower on the move. Tim Cording went from 20th up into the top 5. And he's flirting with the top 5, top 10 contenders there. In the middle of 4 wide with Rich Roy alongside of him. They're bumping and banging down the front stretch here. The 29 not wanting to give an inch as they are wrecking. Here we have a wreck in this one now. A lot earlier than we did in the last one. Man, Tim Cording was making a charge through the field though. Might have been a bit too aggressive, though. Man, Rich Roy just on the wrong side of the fence there. Running the top 10, gets taken out. Oh, Tim Cording goes for a tumble. So let's go through slow-mo here. Get kind of a feeling. We could see those two were bumping and banging. They bumped and banged just a little too hard. They also end up collecting Gannon Bird there. So many drivers make it through safe and sound. It looks like mostly 3 cars involved. I hope no one else is having this interesting problem that my stream on my PC is, where it tries to kick you out. The stream's still running. I know this is like totally breaking the third wall as I'm saying this, because the stream is not killing itself. I can go back to my server, my account, go back into the stream. So hopefully no one else is dealing with that. It seems to be I am dealing with it on my PC as I'm trying to follow along with the stream. Yeah, let's watch the 50. Let's watch the in-cam. Yeah, he just ends up flipping onto his lid there. Didn't really tumble. Just hit the apron and it upset the car enough to end on the hood there. The only other car really involved in this wreck was the 35 of Cat Durham. And it looks like really only about 2 or 3 cars that are going to have any superior damage. Yeah, Cat Durham actually took quite a hard hit. That car is smoking. Must have been a hit to the engine bay on that 35, I imagine. Yep, nowhere to go. Front end damage. His day's probably done. And we're rolling under caution. We're seeing our first green flag, or caution, not green flag, our first pit stops with a caution that's not a comp caution. I'm going to drop the pace laps. They run so many pace laps here at Armory, it's crazy. We've been having to struggle through with the 4-lap long pit stops, so now I can actually cut the pit laps down a little bit. So rejoining the racing surface with the lead, it is the 7 of Spin'em Walker, 21 of Ryan Little, the 84 of Alex Crowther, Krista Cower, and Willow Blake, your top 5. Looks like the 35 is out of the race, the 50 and the 29 soon to follow, as the damage on their cars are probably going to be too severe to fix. They're spending a little bit of extra time on pit road right now, assessing the damage, but I already know the answer to that one. So we'll be down to 31 cars left, and we won't have to exercise a comp caution, at least for the first stint of the race here, as everyone makes a pit stop, and we should be able to get past halfway here without green flag pit stops. It's a minor setback here with the actual frame quality, as the game runs at about 20 frames per second. I think I got a little bit spoiled with my new computer. I'd never seen NR2003 run at 60 frames like it has been. So to take a step down is definitely eye-opening for sure. A lot of drivers were able to avoid that wreck there. It's crazy that we only had pretty much a 3-car wreck with how tight this field has been running all night. It's a bummer deal for the likes of Tim Cording and Rich Roy to get knocked out this early. Oh, Rich Roy gonna try to go back out there. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that though, because with our damaged vehicle policy, he might end up having to get DQ'd before he even finishes many more laps. The 50, however, has retired due to accident, so we're gonna get back green here this time once they get across the front stretch. Alrighty, back to green we get going here as it's Spin'em Walker and Ryan Little leading them to the restart. Krista Cower a little bit slow on the restart there. Anheuser-Walkner had to charge around the outside. Willow Blake going low, making it 3 wide for the lead here. Willow Blake with the lead. Alan Chavot now following on the low side, might be able to take second away from the 2 in front of him. And here comes Alan Chavot, that number 97 Ford Mustang. Well, folks, you are officially in Sigma After Hours when things go unexpectedly wrong and we're entering the near midnight on the East Coast. It's 11:05 over there right now. It's only 8 o'clock for me on the Pacific Standard Time docket. But yeah, it's approaching. We'll end up in Sigma After Hours here tonight for this Bridge to Cup race from Armory Digital Superspeedway. And every single one of these drivers have been, they've been anticipating an exciting start to the season, and we are definitely getting treated to an exciting race here so far. Well, it's looking like we might go 5 wide, which didn't happen, but a little bit of chaos strikes there as they were running 3 wide. Man, I just need to run all my races on the laptop apparently, because we're seeing the AI make mistakes that we have not seen all week. Holy cow. It's crazy how 2 different computers, they pretty much get 2 different outcomes here. That's a bummer deal for Cooper Dwight. Your winner of the last Bridge to Cup race gets tangled up in this one. And not even of his doing. The 45 of Skylar Taylor just pushes him up the track there. And he gets knocked around like a bowling pin. 19 there of Alan Malcolm involved. It's not the end of the world to start your season out like so. Oh, and the 48 of Luis Rodriguez took the hard hit there. 46 sends the 81 flying like a lawn dart. Gannon Bird just come in, nothing he could do differently. As the smoke starts blocking his vision, he couldn't see the track clearing itself out. And so, few more drivers knocked out. And the more, more carnage we see, likely the calmer the race is going to start to become. As we, we'll have less cars on field. This was bound to happen with how, it's tight, it's chaotic. It was kind of weird that we were racing without any wrecks all night up to this point, so. Just running at the back as he had been. Unfortunately gets some secondhand damage here from Cooper Dwight. I still can't get over how hard that 81 car got hit. Holy cow, man. 48's out. The 46 is out. The 81 definitely is out after getting flipped and tumbled. 41 may be able to make some repairs, but I can't guarantee how strong that car is going to be after the hits it took, especially that hit there from the 48. And everyone's laying it on the line here. They're wanting to get their season started off on the right foot. And unfortunately, a few drivers put their foot wrong here. We're not even nowhere near halfway yet. A few more retirements join the fold as the 13 of Noah Hobson is knocked out with a header. Blown header from the contact he suffered in the wreck. The 6 of Roach is now retired. The 27 of Adam Starr retired. How did I miss what happened to the 6 car? Roach. Okay, so Roach takes a hard hit there. Yeah, I definitely missed that one. Roach kind of had nowhere to go and took a hard hit. The drivers that might be throwing up some Hail Marys when this was happening would have been Alex Sanvital. Let's just watch as he makes a miraculous move to stay out of harm's way here. Letting off throttle. Wow! It doesn't get any crazier than that. At 40. Gets to live to fight for the rest of the race here tonight. And just like that, Rich Roy, he's going to be able to pick off some more spots with the new retirements out of the race. Even though he's 2 laps down, he's going to be able to make up some points here, even on a bad day. Just like that, he catapulted from 32nd up to 25th. Joining the retirements also, none other than the 46 of Gannon Bird, 48 of Luis Rodriguez, the 81 of Matthew Hubert, the 27 of Adam Starr, the 41 of Cooper Dwight. Honestly, a 26th is not a bad day if you ended up in a wreck. Definitely not ideal, but better than finishing 34th here today. 26th in an accident. That leaves us with 25 cars left running. 1 car, 2 laps down. So as we get set for the restart, it's going to be Cannon Gage with your lead, followed by Willow Blake, I was going to say one name, and I fumbled that miserably. It's actually Carson Bauers in third. Jamie Horseman and Ryan Little, your top 5. Trevor Vaden sneaks his way into the picture. As the pace car gets ready to pull off here. First time tonight we've really seen Wyatt Wilkinson, your 2024 ARCA champion. He's been able to outlast the carnage and chaos so far, and he's working his way up into the top 10. So shout out there to Wyatt Wilkinson and pretty much all of LFG Motorsports for still surviving all the mess that we've been through so far in this first half of the race. 17 of Jack Davis not too far behind their 2 teammates in front of him. We're going 3 wide for second. Cannon Gage in the Cadillac is going to take the lead away from Willow Blake. Jimmie Logano sneaking into the picture again. Jonah Burridge on the move. And hopefully we can just settle in for some racing here now. I think they should hopefully have gotten the wrecking out of their system. And now it's time to race for it. Get some clean laps in. Don't get too close to each other. There's still 70 laps to go. A lot of racing here to be done. Ryan Little with the lead now. Carson Bauers up to second. Jimmie Logano going to crack back into the top 5 with that move. And Carson Bauers making a move. It's the 12 and the 21 fighting for the lead. Advantage goes to the 12 in that Mazda. And as any ladder system, obviously, Bridge to Cup is no different. This is the springboard to getting yourself up into the Cup Series. And a lot of the drivers have been wondering, how can I get up into the Cup Series? Well, this is the golden ticket. If you win the championship for Bridge to Cup, you are immediately the 34th charter in the Cup Series the following season. And so currently, that charter belongs to Bradley Ream, who won the championship last year for the 19 team at TRD for Atlee Weiss. And so he's only got that charter under lock through 2024. However, here's the caveat to that. If he is able to finish in the top 33 in points, the driver that had a charter that finishes worst or outside the top 33 in points must relinquish that charter. So the charter would then switch hands, and Bradley Ream gets to basically move out from the Bridge to Cup charter and hold his own Cup charter. As that, the Bridge to Cup charter is held specifically for Bridge to Cup champions. Ooh, Carson Bauers is getting a little bit close for comfort there with the 51. They are 5 wide going into turn 3 now. This better calm down here quickly. I think Carson Bauers might be able to thank the 07 for holding him up there, as that actually allowed them to get sorted. Alex Sanvital to the lead. That could have been tragic for some of the drivers there if it went bad. Luckily, it did not go south like it was looking it could have. Jason So in the number 55 Hyundai racing for Jacob Shangle Racing in this Bridge to Cup series. The other driver in that stable, the teammate to him, is the 32 of James Gunner, which is about towards the back end of the field right now. Alan Chavot in the Ford Mustang there is racing for Monty Shangle Motorsports. MSM has offered kind of a stimulus to this Bridge to Cup series, getting a couple wild card stars in the field. Alan Chavot didn't know that he was going to be running up until just a couple days ago that Monty pretty much put the money on the table to get a ride out on the field. He just needed a driver. And Chavot has definitely proven within the Ford camp to be worthy of a shot to get a full season here in Bridge to Cup. We're going to see how well that goes for the 97. Having a good showing so far. Led a lap there. Settling back in. Might have to drop back before he can get back up to the front. Four wide again. Jimmie Logano on the low end of that one. Wyatt Wilkinson, the meat in the sandwich, alongside Anheuser-Walkner. Ooh, and the 40, Sam Vital dropping backwards here as he got shuffled up high. So we've had two cautions here tonight, two wrecks, pretty gnarly wrecks. The track itself is a self-cleaning racetrack, so if you get involved in a wreck, it's kind of hard to avoid the cars that slide from the top to the bottom. In the meantime, it's Jimmie Logano fighting for the lead here, but it's going to be Jack Davis leading that lap. Jimmie Logano ain't going anywhere, though. He's here to play for wins. The self-proclaimed 10-time champion in motorsports, Jimmie Logano. Not a champion in Sigma racing competition yet, but if his resume is any indicator, I am sure you're going to see this 28 competing for a championship all year long. Jimmie Logano leading over Ryan Little in the 21. Ryan Little has had kind of a revolving door of opportunities. I think finally this could be the best opportunity he's had with Trevor Walker's team here in Jaw Drop Motorsports, with Jordan Walker and Trevor Walker teamed up owning the team. Down to 63 laps to go. Jason So making a move for the lead here. Bad Jack Daniels, number 55, looking oh so sweet at the front of the field. Definitely had the storm hit a couple laps ago. This is starting to feel more like what would have been the calm before a storm. So everyone pretty much kind of relaxed and kicking back right now. Hopefully we don't have another storm hit. It is definitely likely that we'll have at least another tornado strike the field before the checkered flag waves. A lot of drivers itching to get that first win of the season. a lot of these drivers itching to get their first career win in Bridge to Cup competition. I would even go as far as to say that nearly 80% of the field out here fighting for their first career win. Definitely the Wild West here on the Bridge to Cup circuit, with so many newcomers, different rotation of drivers for, you know, seats that are usually capable of winning. We know that that 8 car has been able to get to victory lane with Al Bunch, but could Eli the Wolf follow suit? You think about even the likes trying to remember some of the other numbers. There's a lot of new numbers, honestly. It's not like we've got very many numbers that are tied to victory, you know, quite like the 8 that we know of Al Bunch over the last couple of years. That's really the, you know, the glory of this series, is getting to see, you know, new combinations, new numbers, new winners, and new, you know, new champions each year. If you look back even just a couple years ago, the likes of Atlee Weiss, he'd never even won in Bridge to Cup here, and had been fast lined up into Cup and was Rookie of the Year and champion in the same year in 2023. So he's kind of an odd story when it comes to drivers moving up the ladder. He kind of skipped this series altogether and found success instantly. Well, now the circuit, definitely a different field now after Atlee Weiss has retired from Sigma competition. He did run the 84 car last year and got the, you know, the very hard to get wins that he never won. So he has won in trucks, in Bridge to Cup, and Cup. ARCA was one of the only series he'd never competed in because ARCA came around later after he'd been in the series for a while. And so Alex Crowther definitely with some big shoes to fill driving that 84 Jersey Mike's. And that's the exact same paint scheme, the exact same car that Atlee drove to nearly 5 victories last year. Three wide for the lead as Andrew Moger dukes it out with Anheuser Walkner and Alex Sanvital. Spinham Walker, Cannon Gage now. Cannon Gage quits the 7 and makes it 4 wide for second place. He has to let out of the throttle a little bit as he's not able to get as much of a run on the inside as he thought he could. But here comes Cannon Gage now as Moger starts to struggle a little bit in the outside line. That's crazy that the laps are actually slower on the laptop here. We had a fastest lap in the other race at a 188 miles an hour, and all that we've been able to muster is 186 out of Krista Cower during some part of the race here tonight. If anyone does step out, I'll give you the heads up that I will ping the server once we get down to 15 laps to go. So don't have to worry about setting a reminder or a clock or anything to come back. I will drop a ping on the server It looks like we might have to exercise our damaged vehicle. 19, unfortunately, and the 29. We do not want them to cause another wreck at the front of the field, so we will go ahead and disqualify them. It's gonna be close for comfort as our leaders are now catching up to him. Wyatt Wilkinson takes the lead here. Jimmie Logano goes low, makes it 4 wide for second. That's a statement we've heard so many times here tonight. 4 wide for second yet again. As Wilkinson holds the lead briefly, he's going to try to block 4 lanes of traffic, 4 lanes of draft, but I don't think it's going to pay off as Carson Bauers makes the dive for the lead here. And our lap traffic has been sent to the pit road. Not going to have to worry about lap traffic slowing down the action here. Carson Bauers leads the way. This is his first career start in Bridge to Cup action. It's actually his first career start in all of the Sigma racing. Having a good showing here tonight. Unfortunately, his teammate got knocked out early, Cooper Dwight. But we already know what Cooper Dwight's capable of. I think tonight could be a statement night for Carson Bauers to prove that he's not just the teammate of one of our top winning Bridge to Cup talents, that he too could match his teammate in the win column. We're slowly closing in on halfway, about 8 laps shy of halfway here tonight. Oh, 4 wide for 3rd place there. Alan Chavot needs to get safetied up here. 5 wide for 6th on back. Ooh, and it gets narrow. Once they get back onto the backstretch, it kind of closes up quicker than they could anticipate. And everyone's keeping it clean right now, but it's getting dicey in that back half of the field. Now we're about 6 laps from halfway. Actually, more so 4 laps from halfway, my bad. Jamie Horseman leads. We could still throw a blanket over our top 20, it looks like. From 1st to 21st, you're 1.1 second separation. Doesn't get any tighter than that, folks. That is some insanely tight racing. 45 of Skylar Taylor. I'm not certain if she's got damage on the car, but she has since lost the draft. We might let her keep rolling as long as the traffic doesn't catch her at a bad spot on the racetrack. So at one point we started with 34 cars, and we've since lost about 12 of them. Still have 21 competitors, all very much capable of getting the win here tonight. Well, we are officially at halfway now, 48 laps in, 48 laps to go around Armory Digital Superspeedway. And at the halfway point here, let's go ahead and just do a quick recap of what's all gone down here tonight. There's been 2 cautions, both times knocking out on average about 5 to 6 cars each wreck. The wrecks have been pretty gnarly. A few drivers have flipped upside down, ended up on their roof. But ultimately, a lot of drivers still alive. More drivers have stayed alive than they have been knocked out. So 21 cars left in the mix here tonight. And that's, that's a good recipe, as we can see 21 different drivers with a chance to win here. Unfortunately, some big names knocked out early included the likes of Cooper Dwight, Tim Cording, and even Rich Roy, Adam Starr, Gannon Bird, who could be a contender this year. They're unfortunately gonna start out the season with less than desirable points accumulated here today. But on the flip side, we're looking at potentially a handful of drivers that could get their first career Bridge to Cup win. Wyatt Wilkinson back in the mix here would get his first career win. Andrew Moger looking for his first career win. James Gunner in what is his first career start, as well as Alex Crowther in his first career start. Alex Sanvital. I can't remember. I think Trevor Vaden might very well be in his first ever Bridge to Cup start in that number 18 Racing Miku entry. So every time I keep saying first career start, they have the opportunity for their first career win. Even the 51 that we're spotlight on right now, Zach Magoon has never won, as it is also his first career start. So Willow Blake still in the mix. We've seen her up to the front a couple times. Jason So. And I think at the back there you still got, yeah, Eli the Wolf. Jimmie Logano, though, he got his first career win in his first career start here in this Bridge to Cup Series when he showed up to Pocono and knocked it out of the park. So how perfect for one of the winningest champions in motorsports to show up and win in his first career start. The only other person that actually happened to do that last year was Cooper Dwight, who won in his first career start as well at a 1 mile dirt track in the season. Six more laps have passed since halfway, as we're going to be down to 42 laps to go this time by. And you got to start to wonder if pit stops are going to factor in here shortly. And with that, you know, our pit stops come the Sigma comp cautions. So a lot of these drivers maybe just chilling, big chilling right now, figuring out when to make that move down pit road where it won't set them too far back on a restart. Drivers definitely have settled down a little bit here. We haven't seen as much 4 and not near as much 5 wide as what we had seen earlier in the race here. You would think it'd be kind of the flip-flop of that. You would think that they would kind of stay, you know, calm, cool, and collected during the first half and start to pick it up right about now for the aggression level to try and get that win. That is a rivalry that's going to stay lit through their entire career. Wyatt Wilkinson and Willow Blake, I think, may very well be one of our first highly volatile rivalries that we've had in Sigma racing. Those two fought tooth and nail for the ARCA championship last year. Ultimately, the prize went to Wyatt Wilkinson in the form of an ARCA championship, but Willow Blake definitely showed her determination with how many wins she was able to get. It's kind of funny. We've seen Willow Blake show up and succeed on higher tier stuff such as Cup. She was able to outperform Wyatt in trucks, yet was unfortunately second fiddle in ARCA. So it's going to be, this is like a mano-a-mano kind of situation where we get to see them show down up another step of the ladder. And perhaps Willow Blake has something to say for Wyatt. In the meantime, Wyatt Wilkinson about to try and take the lead away from Alex Crowther here. 4 wide for about 5th. They are catching up to the 45 of Skylar Taylor. This could be a tough spot for them to catch the slow 45 here. They are going to catch her at a rapid pace. They're going to have to figure out a way to get around her without causing a wreck here. Wyatt leads the lap that time, has a teammate right there behind him. He's going to cut low and avoid the traffic block there, the 45. As the 45 stays high, I'm hoping this 45 actually gets into the draft, starts running competitive times here. It seems like there's no damage on that 45, so simply she just lost the draft and might be back in it here so that she can try to fight to get her lap back. Ooh, and we might have our first round of pit stops. That we do, folks. First two takers down pit road is the 65 of Walkner and the 98 of Cower. And so stay tuned, as obviously once they get through, all the drivers get through the green flag pit stops, we'll throw the Sigma comp caution. There's a 5-car breakaway at the front of the field now, as the second group seems to have lost the draft there. This could kind of separate the runs once they do start breaking down pit road. Wow, Willow Blake gonna come to the front and lead a lap here, as I saw Cannon Gage dipping down pit road. Willow Blake's not gonna lead the lap though, but this is that rivalry I was talking about just a few moments ago. We're getting to watch Willow Blake and Wyatt Wilkinson duke it out for positions on the racetrack right now. Pit stops are looming on the horizon. Jason So dips down pit road. It's one less driver up to the top 5, as it's now your top 4. Once we figure out who the last one is down pit road, we'll give them a chance to come out and throw that comp caution. Wow, Wyatt Wilkinson starting to lose the lead for here, as he's getting swallowed into the grasp of the second group. Almost got to wonder if Wyatt Wilkinson pushed it a little too far here. He might be running low on gas. That power definitely down on the 16 as he's coming down pit road now. Willow Blake as well. Looks like Spin'em Walker is going to stay out a little extra longer. As well as Zach Magoon and Jamie Horseman. These are your last 3 horsemen on the long green flag run here. And finally, they're having to come down pit road for their pit stop. At 34 laps to go, it's more than likely that everyone's going to be able to go after these last stint of pit stops here. It's going to be tight, though. It's going to be close. I forecast gas getting a little bit slim for some of these drivers that pitted earlier. These 3 that lasted the longest. How fitting. A Golf number 51 may very well have the gas mileage game on lock. And now we will throw our Sigma comp caution. Some might liken it to stage racing. I just like our super speedway races to finish with a little bit of fanfare. It's not as fun when they get stretched out. The AI and NR definitely do not know how to pit and play the strategy game very well at all. So this is kind of a fix for a lifelong disaster that has been in NR2003. Simply a fix to make the racing better. Willow Blake's going to lead them into the caution here. And it might be a good idea for all these drivers to come down pit road and at least top off on gas. We'll see if track position is more important, though, as you don't want to give up track position, but at the same time, you're going to end up making up all that track spots you lose. So, and with 30, what would likely be about 30 laps to go once the restart happens here, definitely still a lot of racing to get back into the mix. We're going to go ahead and give the wave around to our two drivers that are a lap down. That way they have an opportunity to try and get back into the race here tonight. Thanks again, everyone, for staying along for the ride here tonight. With technical difficulties rearing its ugly head again with the brand new computer. Windows 11 is the bane of my existence. Windows 10 through and through for me. I ain't got anything good for Windows 11. It's basically Windows 10, just with more nuances that seem to make older games crash. So, and I think it's proven its point here tonight, because I knew for a fact that this race was going to go perfectly fine. My laptop's got a good track record. It's pretty much, we might have a crash once in a blue moon. And it's how crazy, I'm not even that afraid to jinx it right now, because I know the game is not going to crash once it gets past the hour mark. Usually, if it crashes on my laptop, it crashes within the first 30 minutes. What has been happening on the PC, the new one I just got, is that it crashes every time there's a in-race crash where the cars crash on track. So I'm going to have to Google that and see if there's actually a fix for that, because to me it makes no sense. The only thing that could explain it is the pace car comes out on track and the game decides to freak out because there's another car that joins the racing surface. I honestly don't know. But here we are. We're going to have about, looks like now maybe 29 laps to go once the lights turn off on the pace car. So just hold tight, folks. We can get back racing here shortly. And it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a brawl to the finish here tonight. Alrighty, we're getting doubled up for the restart here. Willow Blake, your leader. Trevor Vaden on the outside. Then you've got Spinham Walker, Anheuser Wagner, Zach Magoon, and Jason So. Pace car is off as we're going to get rolling here down the front stretch. And they're rolling here again. We are green with 29 laps to go. Willow Blake with the lead here. This could be huge for her, as we already know that she's capable of winning in the ARCA series. Might she find instant success here up the ladder in Bridge to Cup? Three wide for the lead, as it's going to be Zach Magoon alongside Spinham Walker and Jack Davis now, making it interesting. Your entire LFG Motorsports team all within the same bubble of each other, as you've got Wyatt Wilkinson going low, Trevor Vaden up on the high side there, and Willow Blake trying to freight train around the outside as well as she can. It's going to be hard, as that inside line prevails every time. Alrighty, down to 25 laps to go. Took a brief intermission there as the racing action was happening on track. Carson Bauers getting back up to the front here as the 7 of Spin'em Walker has been leading pretty consistently here. And we are truly in Sigma After Hours now, as it is midnight on the East Coast. Thank you folks on the East Coast for staying tuned if you're here. Those of you that might be on the West Coast like I am, obviously this isn't too late for some of y'all. With the, maybe a busy day tomorrow, hopefully maybe catch the recap tomorrow if you have to go. But of course, we're getting it in. We're down to only about 22 laps to go. The racing's starting to get a little intense here at the front. You're seeing more 4 and 4, 4 wide, whole lot of 3 wide, and these drivers giving it their all, trying to get up to the front, put themselves in a position to win it here tonight. We had opportunities in the race last night to be see a surprise winner, and tonight definitely promising for another chance at a surprise winner. The truck race didn't really end in a surprise, as was one of our champions in Guido Piano. And we still got some drivers that have won in Bridge to Cup that could get the win here tonight. Likes there of Jimmie Logano in the picture, who could get the win. Even Krista Cower is still alive. She's been able to get a couple career wins here in Bridge to Cup competition. Jack Davis as well has found victory in this circuit. But if you're looking at someone to get their first career win, you don't have to look very deep, as you've got Jason So at the front, Jonah Burridge right there behind him, Andrew Moger, Alan Chavot, Cannon Gage, Jamie Horseman, Alex Sanvital. They're all right there. And Jimmie Logano leads them at the moment. But it ain't going to hold that lead for long, as it's going to be a hungry herd of racers pulling up alongside him here. Jonah Burridge and his teammate there, Alan Chavot, up to the front, kind of when it's down to crunch time here with just around 20 laps to go. Those two making the early move to the front. It's going to come down to trying and holding this lead. Maybe they can do some tag team tactics here and try to keep the lead away from everyone else. Play keep away. Alan Chavot is going to lead this time by over his teammate. His teammate's going to get hung out to dry in that high groove as Jamie Horseman and Cannon Gage make the move. Alan Chavot, of course, has never won in Sigma competition, period. So this would be huge for that driver to find victory here tonight. And after tonight, we are only halfway through our week of season openers, as we'll still have ARCA Racing coming at you live here tomorrow night from Armory Digital Superspeedway. And then, of course, the big one, start off the season with our Sigma Cup Series, rounding out the week that is the first week of racing in Sigma competition. The Sigma 400, with what's possibly going to be one of the most exciting celebrations that we've hosted in the series yet. 15th anniversary of the Sigma Cup Series, formerly known as the Sylvania Cup Series, for the first 15 years of its existence. We've already put 15 years in the book. It's going to be the 16th year, but it is a celebration of that 15th anniversary that we have achieved. So, tire season, expect some throwbacks, some, just, we're going to have fun with it. It's going to be one for the ages. And rolling into this Cup Championship for 2025, everyone's got the bullseye directly aimed at the defending champion, Al Bunch, who had the most stellar of seasons that we've ever seen in all of Sigma Cup competition. 15 wins was unheard of. He broke the previous record of wins in a season that was 9. So 15 wins in 2024, 25 top 5s, 30 top 10s, and the guy was even able to get 22 pole positions. He started first place in over half of the races started last year. Those are some wild stats. And so you got to imagine the teams did their homework during the off season here, and they want to prove that they have what it takes to beat Al Bunch this year. The whole field was pretty much embarrassed in 2024 with the sheer dominance that we witnessed out of that 81 Jaguar that was Al Bunch. And so Al Bunch returns yet again with Jaguar backing him in 2025. Still in a very familiar number 81. He's going to keep his original paint scheme that he won the championship in, with some new paint schemes that he's going to highlight throughout the season. But yeah, it's going to be a fun year, seeing who's going to take the challenge to your defending champion. I don't know if Al Bunch is going to have quite the year that he had last year. I mean, that's a whole nother level of dominance. That's like Jeff Gordon level season right there. And you don't see those seasons come very often. We were just along for the ride last year. There was a few points where some teams were calling it out, saying that Al Bunch was cheating, that the car was not legal, and Sigma officials even found fault with some of those claims. And they were able to take some advantages away from Al Bunch. So what does Al Bunch do when the law is against him, when teams are fighting for equality across the series? He rises to the occasion and just he gets even better. So we saw the rise and fall and the ultimate just rise to dominance out of Al Bunch. So you got to imagine the teams knew that you know, that's their that's the mark they got to match for this year. And I think the teams are coming prepared. Okay, so now down to 13 laps, 12 laps to go. Let's get back in the mix on who's fighting for the win here. Willow Blake leading the way. Anheuser-Wagner. We could still throw a blanket over the entire top 22. The 45, though, we're going to go ahead and give a DQ. Skylar Taylor, she has dropped off the pace numerous times now, and it's just not good enough to run to the finish here. So we'll disqualify the 45 for not meeting adequate race pace. So we don't have to have another caution. Jimmie Logano creeping into the picture now with 10 laps to go. Alex Sanvital leading the way. Oh, and I heard tire scuff. Oh, we've got a wreck. And this changes everything, as we're now going to have likely about an 8-lap to 7-lap shootout. Wow, we had a caution within the last 10 laps. That's kind of rare air. Oh, no way. Anheuser-Wagner was running second. Was there an extra wreck after? Oh, boy. This all happened. How did this happen? No way. No way. Okay, so this is about to get wild, folks. From the back end of the field, this wreck happens. The 07 is going for a wild ride. The 07 of Jonah Burge with nowhere to go. He turns into a bowling ball. The 07 of Jonah Burridge. That grass did not do anything to slow him down. He goes through the grass, comes out on the other side, taking out your leaders in the race. He's trying to stop it, not stopping it fast enough, and he rejoins the racetrack, colliding with the 65 of Wagner, the 21 of Ryan Little, and a whole slew of drivers that didn't have anywhere else to go there. Holy cow, man. Dude. We get some wild wrecks once in a while. This takes the cake tonight. You just, wrong place at the wrong time. Jonah Burridge did absolutely nothing wrong, and perhaps maybe even had a faulty mechanical failure. Maybe the throttle hung on the 07. and he was trying to rub off the speed going through the grass. Yeah, the throttle sounds like it hung. So with a mechanical failure to boot, unfortunately ruins some people's days here and potentially the wildest wreck we've seen in Bridge to Cup action. Definitely the fastest way around the track. The 12. Wow, the 12. That's masterclass avoidance skills right there from Carson Bauers. Carson Bauers did not make any contact with the spinning 21 that was right there in front of him. Willow Blake may very well be super lucky. Jaw Drop Motorsports really had the worst end of this, as both their drivers, the 65 and the 21, got tangled up in this mess. The 5 of Cannon Gage is involved. And it's looking like Jimmie Logano might be your leader. Yep, Jimmie Logano, the leader, rolling into the caution here. Now retired from the event tonight, it is the 21 of Ryan Little, the 65 of Anheuser Walkner, the 5 of Cannon Gage. Usually, you know, a race like this being the penultimate series to the Cup Series would be obviously our penultimate event of the week. Things kind of gets mixed up a little bit this year, as our Bridge to Cup Series is going to be featured on Tuesdays and the Cup Series on Thursday. Or in other words, our big two are to be featured on any day starting with a T. Makes it easier for those to maybe remember which days of the week to expect our big two to be running. And so tonight, it is kind of wild to think that this is only halfway through our race week, but this right here could very well be one of our biggest races of the week with the star talent that we've got. You know, we've got champions of different series. We've got champions from other Sigma outfits. And this, you know, really is kind of the cream of the crop here. As the pace car pulls off, it's going to be about 6 laps to go. I don't think we're going to need any green-white checkers enabled, as they should be able to race their way to the finish now. Things definitely got wild there, and I think the wild factor is dialed up to 110. As Jimmie Logano gets rolling here through the gears, it's going to be Willow Blake behind him. Here comes Trevor Vaden down low. It seems like all of LFG Motorsports still in the mix here, even after all the chaos has subsided. Wyatt Wilkinson still in the top 15, as well as his two teammates in the mix as well. Here comes Trevor Vaden, 3 wide for second. Carson Bauers thinks about dipping low, but holds his line in the middle. Jimmie Logano drops low and keeps the position in front of the 18 on lock there. But now you've got team tactics here. The 16 and the 18 are going to team up together here and try to work on Jimmie Logano. You know, better in numbers. You don't want to be a single car at the front of the field having to deal with teammates that are fighting for the win. But Jimmie Logano keeps the lead here with 5 laps to go. He outlasts the 18 of Trevor Vaden, but is he going to outlast the 16 of Wyatt Wilkinson? Wilkinson sticks his nose in there. Jimmie Logano without a chance to protect. Here comes Trevor Vaden back on the attack. The 18 cuts below his teammate and now fighting for position. But Jimmie Logano keeps the lead. Holy cow, man. Logano actually played that masterfully. He used the 2 teammates behind him duking it out to keep the lead away from both of them. As Jimmie Logano is going to roll to start finish line with 4 laps to go in our Bridge to Cup opener. You're going to have to keep an eye on the lights on the side of the track. Make sure it stays green. Jimmie Logano losing traction now as Trevor Vaden takes the lead. And Carson Bauers follows suit right behind him. Bauers takes a dive down low. Maybe trying to get a little bit of redemption for his teammate, his team owner. They got knocked out early in this one. Carson Bauers, he's going to be leading here with just 3 laps to go. Is he going to be able to hold on is the grand question here. Jason So takes a dip. Carson Bauers leads the lap. Alan Chavot, 97. Surprise entry here tonight, and he's up to the front of the field now. Don't count out Willow Blake, as she is quietly and consistently stayed up at the front half of the field here tonight. She's trying to find an opening, trying to get through the traffic in a very peculiar way. That 02 not getting down to the bottom lane yet, but she's making it work so far. Trevor Vaden closing the door on Alan Chavot. Alan Chavot goes high here. A lot of hustle and bustle as these drivers trying to set themselves up for success with just 2 laps to go now. Everyone's cashed in. It's going to be nut up or shut up time as these drivers figure out the right angles, the right directions, the right spot to be in to close this deal out. Now down to just a couple laps to go. 95 of 96. They'll see the white flag next time by. These drivers giving it their all here. I would say if you're on the inside line right now, you're in the catbird seat. If you're on the outside line, you're going to have to start throwing Hail Marys. Spin'em Walker is going to take the lead here. Andrew Moger right behind him. Jimmie Logano goes low. That's the money move right there, folks. I would say Jimmie Logano takes the low side. And with a full head of steam, he pushes it 4 wide for second, third place. He's going to take second place with ease here as Jack Davis follows suit going down low. Alex Sanvital on the bottom side. This is for all the marbles as they come across start-finish line. White flag waving in the air. Spin'em Walker leads right now, but Jimmie Logano, he is sniffing at the lead. Jack Davis, who's been relatively out of the picture for most of the night here. I didn't anticipate seeing Jack Davis in the mix, and here comes Jack Davis trying to cut below Jimmie Logano here. Jimmie Logano might have to make it 3 wide. He's settled in. It's 4 wide behind him. Jimmie Logano cuts low. It's going to be a race between these two at the front. Spin'em Walker loses a little bit of ground. Jimmie Logano to the lead. Alex Sanvital. Could Jimmie Logano be a sitting duck as the draft behind him tries to work their magic? Jimmie Logano holding the draft, keeping them behind him, and it's going to be Jimmie Logano getting his second career win in Bridge to Cup action. And by all means, it was no easy feat to pull off. Jimmie Logano had to earn it here tonight. That 28 putting on one stellar performance. Coming home in second was the 7 of Spin'em Walker. Third, Alex Sanvital. Fourth, Krista Cower. Fifth, Wyatt Wilkinson. Then Wilkinson's teammate Jack Davis comes home 6th. Andrew Moger 7th. Just short of a 16, 17, 18 trio as Trevor Vaden came home 8th. Jason So 9th. And Carson Bauers with a 10th. And that, folks, is your Sigma Bridge to Cup Series. A little bit of extracurriculars after the race here. Potentially involving the likes of Jamie Horseman. No, not quite. As the caution waves. But regardless, that is a wrap, folks. Jimmie Logano starting out strong, getting his second career win in Bridge to Cup action. The rest of the field that was able to finish the race here, Alan Chavot comes home 11th, Willow Blake 12th, Kyler Sestre 13th, James Gunner 14th, and Eli the Wolf with a 15th. And this is going to be an exciting year, as some of y'all know already about Jimmie Logano. His presence in the series is going to be very, very exciting to follow along with all year. Now a 2-time Bridge Cup winner, he's trying to set himself off on the right foot to try and fight for a Bridge Cup championship and ultimately try to find his way up into the Cup Series. Survives the carnage here tonight. Through the fire and the flames, he carried on and ultimately achieved victory. It's a super speedway victory, but every victory is as sweet as the last one. As now one race in the book, 29 to go. Bridge to Cup. It's going to get exciting here, folks. And thanks again, everyone, for staying tuned. I know it's a late night for some of y'all on the East Coast. It's definitely a later night than I wanted to have, too, so. But that's a wrap. 2 races in, 2 races to go. Sigma Racing season is under full speed right now. Have a good night, everyone. Stay safe out there. And until tomorrow night with the ARCA series. Hopefully, we'll see you all tomorrow. So have a good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Later.